months in India have been mired in controversy due to a string of racist and fatal incidents targeting African immigrants living in the country. But what few Indians know is that Africans and Indians are no stranger to each other. There are at least 20,000 of African origin ethnic tribe who have been living in near total obscurity in India for centuries. Isolated and reclusive, Siddhis are mostly confined to small pockets of villages in the Indian states of Karnataka, Maharashtra and Gujarat, and the city of Hyderabad. There is also a sizable population in Pakistan. Descendants of Bantu people of East Africa, Siddhis' ancestors were largely brought to India as slaves by the Arabs as early as the 17th century, followed by the Portuguese and the British later on. Others were free people who came to India as merchants, sailors and mercenaries before Portuguese slave trade went into overdrive. When slavery was abolished in the 18th and 19th centuries, Siddhis fled into the country's thick jungles fearing recapture and torture. These African slaves were originally known as Abishis, which is Persian for Abyssinian. But those who rose through the ranks of the royal retinue were honored with the title Siddi, a possible epitome from the Arabic word for master Sayyid. It is not entirely clear when the use of the term Abishi declined and Siddi replaced it, but today Siddi describes all the people of African descent in India. Although they still look African, Siddhis have completely and wonderfully assimilated in the Indian culture, tradition and language. They are Indian citizens, but often the rest of India has a hard time believing they are so. Years before I met or even heard of Siddhis, I had marveled at the ornate intricacy of Tree of Life lattice work carved into stone windows in the Ahmedabad's iconic Siddi Sayyid Mosque, built in 1573. The sublime artistry remained etched in my mind, yet I failed to notice the mosque name itself, a reference to Abyssin Siddi Sayyid who constructed it. Another time I was taken by the legend of Murad Janjira, a unique and unconquered sea fort on the island of the Arabian Sea near Mumbai. I heard all of its glory except for the fact that it was an Abyssinian minister, Malik Ambar, who constructed it in 15th century. Despite such glaring vestiges, Siddhi's history has been startlingly erased throughout India. To raise time by the government, indifference and ridicule at the hands of fellow citizens, Siddhis lead a marginalized life, while aspiring for fighting chance at better prospects. Largely working as farmers, manual laborers, Siddhis lack sustainable work opportunities, and due to their poverty, education cannot be a top priority either. Sport is one of the few options that can offer them an escape. In the 1980s, spearheaded by then Sports Minister Margaret Alva, the Sports Authority of India started an athletic program for the Africans, whom they saw as medal-winning hopefuls. However, bogged down in administrative failures and secrecy, the ambitious plan crumbled before it could soar high. The collateral, however, was that for the first time ever, Siddhis from across the country met, learned of each other's existence and their shared ancestry. The program was shut down in 1993, leaving the Siddhi players high and dry. Today, Siddhis are working with a small team of 14 young and promising Siddhi athletics to help them get a chance to compete in 2024 Olympics as part of the Shell plan that seems to have taken a new wings nearly 3 decades later. It's a promising step in the right direction. Winning a medal could be the revived program's zenith, coinciding with the culmination of United Nations International Decade for African Descent. If executed with diligence this time, it could uplift the Siddhi community, revive its forgotten history, and bring much awaited acceptance to Siddhi people.